Welcome back to English 101 College Composition at SUNY Genesee. This is Module 6, the writing process. This is the first portion of the writing process with Professor Melissa Siska. Module learning outcomes. By the end of this module, you should be able to describe topic selection activities. You should be able to analyze ways to effectively approach a writing assignment. You should be able to analyze pre-writing activities, and you should be able to explain how brainstorming and free writing can help you start writing. We'll be looking at the recursive writing model, which we will be using. This is the same writing process you've always used. Recursive simply means that we are stepping back and forward instead of moving from points A, B, C, D, E without ever going back. Hence the arrows around our circles in the writing process below. We have several colors here, and we will work through many of them today. Our first step will be topic in the sky blue circle, then is pre-writing in the purple, then our turquoise circle is for evidence, followed by our green circle to organize, our blue circle for drafting, our orange circle to revise, and finally our yellow circle to proofread. Okay, and you will notice as we walk through here how sometimes we have to take a step backwards to make our next step better. We're going to start with our sky blue circle in the beginning, topic selection. Learning outcomes for this portion are that you will learn to describe and use pre-writing strategies. You will evaluate the role of a working thesis statement. You will describe strategies for preliminary research on a topic, and you will describe strategies for synthesizing research with personal ideas. There's our blue circle, our sky blue circle. Topic circle includes assignment criteria, brainstorm, personal interest, selection, and refinement. Starting a paper. Fortunately, most writing assignments include some directions and parameters, and these constraints can help you feel less daunted or overwhelmed when you set out to find a topic or begin writing. Understanding what your instructor expects in the final paper is often the best place to start. So you should follow these steps. First, read the assignment carefully. Second, be sure you know what questions are being asked. Do you understand them? Then you should be sure you know what kind of paper you're being asked to write. Make sure that you are writing rhetorically appropriate, hence question 4, who is the audience, and that you're writing in the proper format. If they want an argument, a compare-contrast, a cause and effect, an opinion piece, make sure you know what kind of paper, and then who the audience is for that paper, whether it's simply your instructor or your classmates, or you're writing it as though it is for a journal or a public op-ed. It's important to know who the paper is supposed to be directed at. And then finally, what sources you will need to fulfill the assignment. Are your own opinions permissible? Are you expected to support your claims with evidence from other sources? And also make sure you make note of what type of research formatting your instructor expects, so that as you are gathering in evidence, you can record your sources in the appropriate format, either APA, MLA, or Chicago. Then you're going to step into choosing a topic. So how do you pick a topic? The problem of a topic also is the problem of approach. Okay, so first you need to choose your approach to your topic before you fall into the pit of despair, which is where you feel overwhelmed and confused and decide not to get started because it's just too much work. So to avoid that, let's start by narrowing a broad topic. To narrow a topic, you're going to ask yourself a few questions. Can you focus your project on a specific aspect of the topic? Can you narrow your topic to a specific time period? Can you narrow your topic to a specific geographic area? Or can you narrow your topic to a specific event? When you can narrow down your topic, it'll make your life a lot easier to get to that thesis, and you'll have a clue what direction you're going in, and things will no longer seem overwhelming. This is much like taking all the information and tossing it in a funnel, okay? So we're gonna start with a broad general statement like you see in our upside down triangle here. For example, cars, okay? That is a very broad general statement. Cars are cool, I like cars. Or I wanna buy a car, I'm interested in new car technology. The general introductory remarks are taking you slightly further down. So if I'm interested in new car technology, maybe I'm interested in these new smart cars that drive themselves. That's funneling it down even into a more narrow topic, which will get me to my thesis. All right, once we've selected a topic, we can move on to pre-writing. Pre-writing is our purple circle. Inside pre-writing, we have free writing, listing, clustering, questioning, dialoguing, and a few other strategies. Brainstorming is a very, very common pre-writing strategy. Brainstorming allows you to quickly generate a large number of ideas. You can brainstorm with others or you can brainstorm by yourself, which sometimes turns into free writing. To effectively brainstorm, you're going to write down whatever ideas come to your mind. Remember, this is not a time of judgment. We'll get to that next. For now, you're just getting all your ideas in one place, all your thoughts, all your questions on the topic. Free writing is just what it says, writing freely. Whatever comes to your mind without caring about spelling, punctuation, grammar, or even if it makes sense. It's a way to free up your thoughts, help you know where your interests lie, and get your fingers moving on the keyboard. This physical act can actually be a way to get your thoughts flowing. It's like a trigger for your brain. Okay, so if you're free writing and you're not sure which way to go on a topic, literally just start writing anything you know about it, anything at all, any questions you have, and do not think at all about grammar, spelling, punctuation, or even logical sense. Okay, free writing can also be used if there is not a topic given and you need to find something to write about. Free writing can often lead you to something that is of interest to you in the moment. Free writing can also be used as a brain dump or a way to clear your mind so that you can focus better on your task at hand. With that in mind, we are going to do a free write. So you are going to open a document. This is going to be the start of your lecture response for this module. And the first thing you're going to do is a free write. You're going to do a 5-minute free write. The object is to keep your fingers moving constantly. And write down whatever thoughts come into your head during that time. If you can't think of anything to say, keep writing. You can write, I don't know. You can write, this is silly. You can write, I feel dumb, until your thoughts move on. Stop when the timer rings. Okay? So there is no topic. You're going to write about whatever is in your head. So this is going to be a brain dump free writing. So get your document set up. Get your 5-minute timer going on your phone or in the background on your computer, and just keep writing. We're looking for quantity here. You are dumping the contents of your brain. Okay, go ahead, pause the video and do that. Okay, good job. You've completed a free writing. Shake your hands out. You can wait a while, and when you have a chance, do another timed free writing and add it to the end of your lecture response. Okay, these are great practice and they get you moving. Plus, the more you do them, the less awkward you feel. So then your quality improves and your ability to do them becomes much more helpful to you. Some other pre-writing strategies. Pre-writing strategies have no set structure or organization. It's usually just a collection of ideas that may find themselves in your paper over time. Journaling is a popular pre-writing strategy. Many people write in personal journals or online blogs. Writers not only record events in journals, but they also reflect and record thoughts, observations, questions, and feelings. These are a safe space to record your experience in the world. These recordings can be used as pre-writing when you're looking to write a paper later on. It gives you a source to go back to look for things. Another pre-writing strategy is mapping or diagramming. This is similar to free writing, but the outcome often looks more like a list of related ideas. This strategy is quite similar to brainstorming as well, where the listed ideas may or may not be connected with arrows or lines. You should set yourself a time limit of 5 or 10 minutes and jot down all the ideas you have about the topic. And then there's also the questioning strategy. This is a basic strategy useful at many levels that helps you jot down the basic important information about your topic. So you'll pull your topic from your assignment, and if you've narrowed it, fantastic. If you need help, this is where you will start asking the questions who, what, where, when, why, and how. And it's very important that you are able to answer all of these questions on your topic. If you're not, you need to do some research or homework or really dig into the topic so you can at least basically answer these 6 questions. And then there is the sketching strategy, because a picture is worth 1,000 words. Your first thinking is even done in pictures. So if you are a visual learner and like to sketch out your thoughts, grab a pen or pencil and paper and draw what you're thinking. This strategy is especially effective if you're trying to conceptualize an idea or clarify relationships between parts of an idea. Sketching involves drawing out your ideas using a writing utensil and paper. One common strategy that is useful for planning comparison and contrasts in a visual manner is a Venn diagram. A Venn diagram is a strategy that uses 2 or more overlapping circles to show relationships between sets of ideas. The information written where 2 circles overlap is common to both sides. The information written outside the overlapping area is information distinct to only one of the ideas. So the overlapping section of the circles is items they have in common, or things you would use to compare them. And the items in the outsides of the circles that are not overlapping are unique to each item. Things that would allow you to contrast the items. Okay, here is a visual diagram of 3 circles set up in a Venn diagram. And now you're going to pause the video in a minute here and answer this practice question underneath your free writing. So please make sure there's at least one blank line after the ending of your free writing before you answer this question. You are going to type in the definition of a Venn diagram. You can use your own words. It does not need to be a dictionary.com definition. And then you're going to tell me why they help writers organize their thoughts about 2 or more ideas. So pause the video and go ahead. All right, moving on. We're developing a working thesis statement now. Thesis creation. At what point do you write a thesis sentence? Of course, this varies from writer to writer and from writing assignment to writing assignment. You'll usually do some preliminary idea development first before a thesis idea emerges. And you'll usually have a working thesis before you do the bulk of your research, or before you fully create the supporting details for your writing. Think of the thesis as the midpoint of an hourglass. You develop ideas for writing and pre-writing using various strategies until a main idea or assertion emerges. Remember, we had the upside down triangle that we were calling a funnel. The funnel would be the middle point of your hourglass, and this is where you are at when you hit your main idea or assertion that becomes your point to prove, which is your working thesis sentence. Once you have a working thesis sentence with your main idea, you can then develop more support for that idea, but in a more focused way that deepens your thinking about this thesis angle. Okay, moving on to finding evidence. Evidence is our turquoise circle. It includes personal experience, outside research, quotes, paraphrases, and summaries. When finding evidence, we need to look at support and elaboration. Support and elaboration consist of the specific details and information writers use to develop their topic. The key to developing support and elaboration is getting specific. Good writers use concrete specific details and relevant information to establish mental images for their readers. Sufficiency refers to the amount of detail? Is there enough detail to support the topic? If not, you're going to need to find some more support. Finding evidence. Your research strategy for finding supporting evidence should be based on the research requirements your professor provides. Some formal research essays should include peer-reviewed journal articles only. However, there are some research papers that may allow you to use a wider variety of sources, including sources from the web. However, you should already have some experience finding both peer-reviewed journals and other sources, as hopefully you completed this for your annotated bibliography on your career research for our midterm project. You also need to apply your evidence, and in practical terms, some ways to develop and back up your assertions include blending sources with your assertion, so using some of that evidence to back up each of your points. Also writing an original introduction and conclusion to show your personal thoughts, opinions, stance, and authority on a topic. Opening and closing your paragraphs with originality. It gives you more authority and reliability as the author if you're using your own words to open and close the paragraphs, and then others' information to support your points within the paragraph. And if you use transparent rhetorical strategies, no one wants to be spoken above or down to. And so if you are transparent about your rhetorical strategy, you should be able to connect better with your reader. And in turn, they will connect better with you and be more likely to be engaged and enjoy your reading. And if it's an opinion piece, more likely to come to your side. How do we incorporate our sources? Quotations. Direct quotations are words and phrases taken directly from another source and then used word for word in your paper. If you incorporate a direct quotation from an author's text, you must put that quotation or phrase in quotation marks to indicate that it is not your language. Okay, remember we discussed this briefly when we talked about quotation marks in the Grammar Essentials module. You must put quotation marks around any direct wording you take from someone else. And then we have summarizing and paraphrasing. Now, please pay attention because these are often confused and I often get questions about the difference. There is a difference. Summarizing is condensing the main idea of a source into a much shorter overview. Okay, so your summarizing is condensing the whole main idea into a shorter overview. Paraphrasing is putting any part of that source into your own words. Okay, so it could be a phrase, a sentence, a paragraph, a chapter, any piece of the writing into your own words. Okay, before we move on, I want you to pause the video, go back to your lecture response, and in your own words, explain to me the difference between summarizing and paraphrasing. And now we will move on to organizing. By the end of this organizing module, you should be able to examine the basic structure of common essays, examine the structure and organization of common types of essays, and use Tolem's schema to identify the 6 parts of an argument. Organize is our green circle. It includes a thesis, development, body, introduction, and conclusion. Organizing is important because it makes your writing and reading much more efficient. Organizing is important because it can help you track your progress as a writer and as a reader. Organizing helps better your management skills. Organizing your writing will help instill trust in your readers. And organizing reduces your stress as the writer and stress on the reader because it's easier for them to follow what you're writing and increases their confidence that they understand and are with you as you progress forward in the paper. Essay organization. In writing terms, the assertion that we've been discussing is the thesis sentence, and the different reasons are the topic sentences. So let's consider the following example. And please note that this example is broken down into the beginnings of a formal outline. The thesis sentence is first, or the assertion. Our sample or example will be, the 21st century workforce requires a unique set of skills. Okay, that's my assertion. Then my topic sentences or reasons are broken down below into 3. Topic sentence 1, workers need to learn how to deal with change. Topic sentence 2, because of dealing with such a rapidly changing work environment, 21st century workers need to learn how to learn. And topic sentence 3, most of all, in order to negotiate rapid change in learning, workers in the 21st century need good communication skills. Okay, notice how this is the starting of a formal outline, and I've taken my assertion and reasons and turned them into my thesis sentence and my 3 upcoming topic sentences, which will start off new paragraphs. Common essay structures that you will be asked to write in your college career. Argumentative essays. This is when you take a stance about an issue. The comparative essay. Comparative essays are those that have you compare or compare and contrast or differentiate between 2 things or concepts. In this structure, the similarities and or differences between 2 or more items are discussed paragraph by paragraph. Please note that comparing is explaining the similarities between 2 items. Contrasting is looking at the differences. If you are asked to write a compare and contrast essay, as most English 102 courses will require you to, make sure you include both, comparing the similarities and contrasting the differences. Cause and effect essays are very common in science and history. Examples of cause and effect essays include questions that ask you to state or investigate the effects or outline the causes of the topic. Mixed structure assignments are a combination of the above approaches, and so we call those mixed structure assignments because they can include any combination of what we've just discussed. Drafting. We are just flying right along here into our blue and final circle for this module, draft. And in the draft, you can have your first draft, your working drafts, as in more than one, and your final draft. At this point in the writing process, you have accomplished quite a lot of work. It may feel pretty scattered across the notes you've made, sources you've pulled together in different trains of thought in your head, and that is totally fine. You'll likely have some sort of outline at this point, some plan for what selections you'll need, and an idea of their order. This may be a very formal Roman numeral outline, or a more informal list of ideas, a mind map, a PowerPoint outline, whatever is comfortable for you, unless there is a format dictated by your assignment that you need to follow. The next step is a big one, starting to flesh out those pieces of an outline into a substantial essay draft. Drafting includes pre-writing, editing, and reviewing. Once your general ideas are down on paper, writing out specific ideas and quotations can make the final writing process much easier. Each step of drafting brings the process a little closer to the final product. This is an excellent example of the recursive nature of the writing process, because we have our first draft, and then you're going to go review it and go back and draft again. Edit, go back and draft again. Revise, go back and draft again, up until we get to that final copy after proofreading. And we may even proofread and need to go back to our working draft again. It might not quite be the final. Okay, so moving from the outline to the draft is a very important step. An effective way to begin writing your first draft is to begin with your outline. Hopefully during the pre-writing stages, you've collected notes, evidence, and ideas. First, you'll want to organize these ideas into an outline for your paper and pick a working thesis statement. Follow the steps below to turn your outline into your first draft of your essay. Please note, it is not uncommon for teachers to request that you write an outline and then later request you to write a paper with that outline, or do both and turn them in together. So it's important to know how to take your outline and turn it into a draft. So step one, you're going to figure out your main point and create the headings of your outline, much like we did with our Century 21 example. Step two is to add your supporting details. Those would go underneath each of your topic sentences. Then step three is to turn your headings and subheadings into complete sentences. Okay, those will be your topic sentences. And then you're going to take all of that and construct them into paragraphs, which once you've done all of this, you're just a tiny step away from full paragraphs. As we discussed, revising includes multiple drafts. So we often use the terms first draft, second draft, third draft, and so on, but be aware that there are no set boundaries on what constitutes each draft. The key idea is that you continue to revise and revisit and revise and revisit your paper through multiple passes. If you hit a point where you're not sure what the next step should be, here's 3 questions, key questions to ask yourself. First, does your argument hold together? Second, is your argument supported by evidence? And third, does your essay have an effective introduction and conclusion? If you can completely 100% solidly say yes to those, your paper may be ready to move towards this final draft. And you can ask an instructor, a classmate, a peer, or even a writing tutor in the tutoring center to look over your paper, especially at this point, to make sure that you're confident you are, in fact, ready to move towards your final draft. So a quick review of what we've gone over in this module. Remember that the writing process is recursive, meaning we step back, step forward, multiple times. Understand that your instructor understand what your instructor expects in the final paper is often the best place to start, and then work your way back. Brainstorm by writing down whatever ideas come to your mind. Developing support and elaboration means getting specific. Summarizing by condensing the main idea of a source into a much shorter overview. Paraphrase by putting any part of a source, such as a phrase, sentence, paragraph, or chapter, into your own words. Remember, the assertion is the thesis sentence, and the different reasons are the topic sentences. And continue to revisit and revise your paper through multiple passes. Okay, that is all the information from today's lecture for this module. Please make sure you save and submit your lecture review response within this module on Blackboard, and carry on to the assignments that are still awaiting you.